such an asshole!
AssholeConsulting.com. Go there if you have questions. And Anonymous writes, "Hey Cappy, I have a problem with women, but it's not what you would normally expect. After reading sites like Rouge, Chateau Artiste, and the Red Pill, I know that you have to ignore women and treat them like shit, or at least not put them on a pedestal. My problem is that I have a hard time doing this. I know I have to be an asshole like you." Thanks, kid. Thank you. Bolt I needed. "I know I have to be an asshole like you, but actually going through with it and treating girls poorly makes me feel bad. I can do it a little bit at first, but when we first start dating... God, I'm sorry. I can do it a little bit at first when we first start dating, but to keep up the act, not call a girl back, and consistently nag her becomes difficult, and I just don't like doing it. Do women really like being treated like shit? Are there any of them where I can just be nice to them?" I wish, kid. I wish it was that simple. I think the entire existence of males, the entire past 50 years of existence with men in America is like, we could definitely conclude that, no, you just can't be nice to them. It's real. I understand where you're coming from. And if not, do you have any suggestions on how to get over my dislike for treating them like shit? Thanks. Keep it on. Okay. Do women really like being treated like shit? Okay, let's... Oh, fuck. How do I handle this one? Okay. Let's explain the female psychology as best we can, which will still come nowhere near its mark, but I'll explain it so that we can understand something a little bit more functional and practical. Nobody likes being treated like shit. And I would say if any healthy psychological individual also doesn't like treating people like shit. I remember accidentally tripping upon this. I was 22 years old, and I actually had to cancel a date with this gal who was really hot because I had to work. I got called something. I had a legitimate reason to cancel it, and I couldn't help but notice. I canceled the day of because I got called, I think, that night, and I couldn't help but notice that she did show up for the next date, and things went really well. They went better than average. I'm like, huh. And I kind of tinkered with that and found out that if I canceled the day of the date and set up for a schedule, you were very likely to not only have the girl follow in on the next date, but that the dating experience was much better. And first you would say, oh, that's treating them like shit. That's staying. No, it's not just postponing. And that's the kind of balance that you have to walk. You don't want to be abusive. You don't want to treat them like shit, but you have to be somewhat of an aloof asshole and keep them at arm's length, right? So it's this gray area that you operate in that I think you'll find you'll be comfortable in. You still, because look, I'm sorry, guys are nice. Guys like, you like a girl, I like her, I think she likes me, and if you're dumb and 16 and stupid and idealistic, I got her flowers. And then you don't know why. I know you want to treat people nicely, but unfortunately that's not how women operate. But hopefully we can find kind of in this gray area where you can work on. All right, so the first thing, you have to understand women are flooded with attention, especially the hotter they are, the more they're flooded with attention. And it's really more a rule of economics. I wrote this in my introductory post, or not post, but the introductory segment to the chapter on girls and dating in Bachelor Pad Economics. But if they have, you giving them, asking them on a date, that's nothing to them, that's new. But the guy that kind of like, nah, I got something going on, again, or me, oh, I got to cancel a date. Well, no one's canceled a date on me before. No one's told me no. What the fuck, really? So, that's different. And we're not talking good or bad behavior. Not talking nice or evil, kind or caring or treating them like an asshole. We're talking economics. We're talking rarity. All right? Now notice, canceling a date and rescheduling, that's not being mean. That's not abusive. That's not treating them like shit. Telling a girl no. Standing up to a girl and saying, you're full of bullshit. Disagreeing with anything that is different than what they get of constant agree, just so they can, the guy can maybe, I think if I agree with her, she'll like me. The fact you're different makes you rarer. And by the laws of economics, rarity has value. All right? And so even though you have, You're a good kid. You got a heart. You know, don't worry, you'll get kicked out of you later. And you want to treat the girl nice, you can't, because that's not what's going to get you. But that doesn't mean you treat her shitty. You just kind of make yourself somewhat scarce, somewhat different, sometimes blatantly different. Just like, you know, you're going to, I don't know, canceling at the last minute is one thing. It all depends on the context and the opportunity that you have. You're like, girls like, well, do you want to, like, no, come over here and let's just watch movies or something. Just doing something different is what's going to help you out. All right. Since everyone's in the business of kissing women's ass and treating them nice, you can't do that. That is not going to win you any kind of not necessarily respect, but they're not going to recognize. That's not going to. You're not going to stand out from the crowd that way. All right. The next thing is you don't want to be a jerk, but you also don't want to be a pushover. This is another way that you can be somewhat confrontational, somewhat argumentative. You can you don't just be a jerk for being a jerk's sake, but if a girl says what you say, hey, how about you knock that off? And what? Talking back, holding your ground. That's a rare thing. It also displays manly virtues, and you're not really being an ass. You're saying like, hey, sweetheart, sugar tits, there's a fucking line here, and you just crossed it. That's not happening yet. Another way to kind of, now I'm thinking about it, is telling women what they're going to do. Not in a dictatorial way, in terms of like, when you're around, like, here are the rules. You cry, you do drama, you do bullshit, there's the fucking door. All right? I had another friend of mine, her husband, very interesting. She's married to him now and she adores him. He told her, you either keep up or go away. And I was like, damn, this guy's a big, massive hiker. He's like, you either keep up or go away. And it's not like, where do you hear that? I mean, now that's pushing assholes, pushing being a jerk, but it's not really being a mean or a jerk. It's like, here's my standards, live up to them, or I'm not interested in you. So that's kind of another way. Yeah, so it's. I wish I could codify it and it would be a science, but it's basically not kissing their asses. Almost like a rule of thumb you could go by would be treating her like one of the guys. Like, do you let your buddy Jim go like blow a booger on you like that? Probably not. My buddy Ken, fucking asshole. He's like, hey, we're at the cigar lounge. I'm about to light a cigar. Hey, we got matches. Like, oh, you need matches? I'm like, yeah. So he hands me the box of matches. Like, there you go. I light up. He leans over, blows it out. I'm like, you fucking prick. You fucking asshole. It was a genius move. But you told him he was a fucking prick. And so, but well, oh no, yeah. But just treat him like one of the guys. And like, here's another thing. Every guy wants to be invited upstairs. You know what a really good thing to do? Drop her off, see you, bye, and take off. You don't be rude, but oh, hey, can I come in for some tea? You got a drink? It's just like, fucking take off, man. He didn't come out. Hey, what's he doing? Ending a date early, that's kind of, now I'm thinking about that one might be a good one. Like, have your buddy text you or call you, look, say, oh, I gotta get going. And then it's why, oh, a buddy of mine's got something. My girlfriend needs me. She just broke up with her boyfriend. She needs me. It's just like, shit, something happened with my buddy Mike. You know, have your friend Mike text you something that would give a viable excuse that you gotta leave, but not too viable. No, he's got some troubles. I gotta get going. You know, ending a date early? You know, for a legitimate cause, not because she's a bitch, but okay, so that's it. All right, so there's that. That's kind of enough gray room. You don't want to be a complete asshole. You don't want to actually hurt somebody, obviously not, because you'll feel bad about yourself. But just don't be the supplicant, ass-kissing, pedalizing, pussy worshiper. I hate to use a virgin towel term, but it's true. Don't be a pussy worshiper. All right? Do your shit. Do your thing. Draw a line. Hold some standards. And then that way you'll hopefully not have to treat them like shit, but you'll be aloof and indifferent to the point that you could still pull off the same effect. And then here's the other thing, is after a while, then a lot of people would kind of disagree, Anthel K, Rollo Tomasi, people who have been married, where it's like you have to game your wife or your girlfriend. And there's an element of truth to that. You can't then become the pussy beta, pussy worshiper. But you don't have to be the Fonz like, hey, hey, I'm busy, baby, hey. You know, like after a while, you can actually start treating her nice. You can get her flowers. You can do whatever. Don't do it commonly. Do it rarely and at random intervals. But you don't have to keep up the facade. In the end, you want to be able to be yourself. And so to get women, how long could that be? Anyway, to get women with the initial treatment, treat them indifferently. Limit the supply of attention you give them. Don't be like the crowd. But once that's just to get them. That's just to catch the hook. That's to get the fish hooked. Once you roll them into the boat or put them in the net, you could start to be, because you don't want to not be yourself. That's going to be a pain in the ass. So I'm not saying you put on this completely different persona. And don't worry, there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to display a standard, a requirement of standard, to cut out early, to cancel the day. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for that. So you're not going to be somebody else. But these maybe three or four times, well, that's all you have to do. And then we're like, well, he kind of does his own thing. Why is he? I hate his gut, but I find myself strangely attracted to him. But once you get them, then you could start to be normal and be yourself. You're always going to, the fucking women, dude, they are not the same. I don't care what your teachers told you, they are not the same. They are different. And there's even with the best girls I've dated, there was always the what the fuck moment. Like, and that's kind of how I do it. Is I'm like, this shit ain't happening. You want to go cry, go find some female friends, but this is not happening on my watch. And I'm a jerk, I'm an asshole and all that, but that's what holds the line, and that's what, that's what they respond to. Again, the underlying problem, and I don't know if it's ever been this way, but the underlying problem is in a very naive, innocent, and kind of way. You're kind of, I don't know how old you are. I'm assuming you're 19 or 20. But in a very high school or middle school kind of way, you went and picked a girl flower. Here you go. I don't know, I think you're pretty, so I pulled this plant out of dirt and I gave it to you. I don't know why, I just think I should. And everyone's like, oh, how nice and sweet. But yeah, unfortunately, that's ruined for those girls, especially when they're younger and hot. Everyone pulls them flowers. Nothing is unique anymore. And so you have to, it's like an arms race. You got to get ahead of that weaponized development where everyone's buying the girl flowers, and now you got to do something different. So I know where you're coming from. You don't want to treat women like shit. Sane, normal, mentally healthy people don't like treating people like shit. But try not to treat them like, don't treat them like shit. But don't kiss their ass either. Work in that gray area, limiting things with the law of supply and economics. Hold them to standards. Treat them like your guy friend. Don't punch him in the shoulder, but don't let bullshit fly. Stand your ground, and that's adhering to principle. That's not treating them like shit. So, and then, and by the way, before I go, there are going to be some women you run into, and trust me, I have ran into them. They do want you to treat them like shit. Just as a future warning, if you're starting to date a girl and she says, I had one girl wanting me to hit her. She was all blonde. She was a fucking man. Why didn't you hit me or something? Why didn't you just put me in my place? I didn't realize how profound that was because I was a stupid 23-year-old. I was like, I just don't want to hit people. Some of them, I'm no psychologist, but they come from abusive homes, and that's how love was. No, not your problem. Not your problem. You are not Captain Save-A-Ho. You are not a therapist. You are not her savior. You're not her knight in shining armor. You get the fuck out. When you got a gal that positively responds to genuine abuse, genuine being treated like shit, either verbally, psychologically, emotionally, or physically, you get the fuck out. And if they start asking for it, throwing temper tantrums, because if they start acting like, don't look at them as a hot 25-year-old babe. Imagine if that was a 3-year-old child. Right? Just imagine if a 3-year-old child was behaving like that. Say, wow, that kid needs to be spanked. That's because there's no father around. And then you're like, oh. And then you fucking run. You run, and you do not look back at Sodom and Gomorrah. You just keep running, man. Just keep running whatever way Lot and his wife were running. Is that it? Am I right biblically? Anyway, so terribly sorry. That's how the real world is. Got to play by those rules. You cannot treat women nice. You have to treat them indifferent, limited attention, and down the road when they earn it, then you treat them nice. But you don't have to treat them like shit. Anyway, best of luck to you. Toodles.